So, Blizzard has just announced the new ladder maps that will be introduced in the next ladder season that's starting up relatively soon. And, I mean, we can read this little top bit here, but I just scrolled down to the very first map. I love the description that this map maker gave the map. Accelerator zones are placed in 4 strategic locations to allow players to quickly change paths. And here it comes, guys. The layout was carefully constructed with the help of Twitch chat. So that must mean that it's really good. That must mean that it's like top tier quality, absolutely no problems. It will be flawless, right? The omnipotent Twitch chat. Loco, I helped. Well, then it must be good. Anyway, large rocks full block paths between the accelerator zones. Another path outside the late game expansion is partially blocked by rocks. Jaganatha? Jagannatha? I don't know. How are you supposed to pronounce something like that? I have absolutely no idea. Maybe we can look it up on Google. Hold up, guys. Ooh, I just Googled the word. Apparently it's an Indian word for Lord of the Universe?
Chat heroes.
Oh, a deity worshipped in regional traditions of Hinduism. Alrighty then. Anyways, I was gonna go to like Google Translate and then have the robot lady pronounce it for us. Robot lady, do your thing.
Jagannatha.
Jagannatha. Is that it?
Jagannatha.
I think that's it. I'm totally gonna mess that up, dude. I've been messing people's nicknames up in Twitch chat for a very long time. So I'm certainly gonna mess it up for this map as well. Anyhow. I obviously haven't seen any of these maps yet. I wanted to do my initial impressions today. I will probably be loading a couple of these up in the actual game as well, so we can have a look at what is actually going on here. So, we have the main base in the bottom left-hand corner. And then the main base, I assume, in the top right-hand corner, right? I mean, bottom right and top left don't really make a whole lot of sense. So let's try and zoom in on that for a little bit. Main base looks pretty spacious, standard ramp leading down towards the low ground, and this does look like an area that you can wall with 3x3 structures, which is really critical for Terran and for Protoss players. Zergs don't really care, but if this would be a wider, you know, ramp over here, or like a wider choke over here, you would only ever see Zerg versus Zerg on this map, and that would not be particularly fun. There is no ramp leading down from the natural towards, like, you know, the actual playable area over here, so that is something worth noting. That does make aggressive early game pushes a little bit easier, especially for, like, TVP and ZVT and ZVP. I guess you can also actually do it in PvP and TVT. Anyhow, doesn't really matter too much, but it is something worth noting. I guess as far as third base goes, you have a couple of different options. There's a small little ramp over here in the center, and then 2 big ramps that lead towards the section here that I'm assuming that then this base over here is probably gonna be your natural third, because this one has multiple entrances into it. That said, there's a couple of rocks over here closing off another expansion on the left-hand side. So obviously this is gonna be diagonally mirrored, meaning that we should see the same thing here on the other side of the map as well. And I guess these big bubbles are those accelerator zones that Twitch chat has helped with, right? There's a lot of rocks. Like, there's rocks right there, and rocks right there, and then a bunch of rocks all over the place. There are, like, bushes over here, though. So it's not... I think that this is accessible regardless of the rocks being there. I'm pretty sure you can walk a unit over there, although we'll probably have to load up the map for that. So, there's no watchtower as far as I can see. There's quite a few bases. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bases for either player. So that's a reasonable amount. It's not a huge amount, but that's pretty standard these days. Usually it's like 7 or 8 seem to be the most common number. There's like a little pier over here too, man. It's where you can go fishing after the game ends. Super convenient. There seems to be quite a bit of dead space. So there's some dead space over here at the back of the main base. And there's also what we would like to refer to in the business as pervert pillars. This is where those pervert overlords hang out to spy on you. It's disgusting. They stalk your bases, but they are actually really critical. In some of the current maps, they are actually pretty far away from the natural. So as a Zerg player myself, I gotta say, I like this, man. There's a little pillar right over there. I mean, they could have put it right over there, right? And that would kind of suck. There's also like a little pillar over there. There's like pillars all over the map, actually. So there's going to be some really good overload positions, it looks like. Which I don't mind. All right. So I've already forgotten the map name. There it is. I've already forgotten the map name. Jaganatha? Oh my god, dude. I'm never gonna remember that. It's gonna be bad. I'm already not that good. Like, okay, a little secret. I'm already not that good at, like, remembering map names as it is. Actually, we don't need an opponent. So, generally speaking, right, whenever I'm casting a game, for example, I glance over in the bottom left-hand corner and see what the map name is, right above the minimap.
New subscriber detected.
Hi.
Now I'm gonna have to glance over in the middle of a sentence and then think about how I'm supposed to be pronouncing that. I'm already looking forward to how all of the different commentators in StarCraft 2 are gonna pronounce the map name in the first place. So actually, it looks way bigger right now than I thought it was on that little image that we saw. This map looks huge. Okay, we'll be sending a worker to like the different bases and the different locations on the map. It is also worth noting how long the rush distance is from main to main. So we're gonna do that with this bad boy right over here.
6 months.
We'll send him at 30 seconds. There we go. Now we'll see how long this guy takes to travel across. Hey, thank you guys so much for the generosity. We had War Ember with the 28 months. Kith Kinlord with the Twitch Prime sub. And then Finsanity with the 6-month resub. Yeah, so these speed circles are actually pretty huge. I'm assuming they also affect flying things, right? They should anyway. Yep. Alright, so this drone arrives after about 34 seconds. Okay, about 34, 35-ish seconds. That is pretty standard. Submarine right now is by far the smallest map. And because of that, there's a lot of 12 pooling on that map in particular in pretty much all the matchups. I think that one is like 32 seconds, I want to say. Although, don't quote me on that. I might be wrong. Anyhow, this looks like a very standard map without too much craziness. I mean, I say that while we have these big speed up circle things. It's kind of like Mario Kart. We've had those in a couple of maps so far. Actually, was Death Aura the very first map? I think Death Aura may have been the very first map where we've seen it. I gotta say, I much prefer these speed up circles over like the deceleration zones, like those inhibitor zone generators or whatever they call it. I wasn't a big fan of the slowdown circles. I like these a lot better. Because these are like a buff, you know? Like you can accidentally walk into them and then you get like a little buff. But if you accidentally walk into like the slowdown circles, it feels like a punishment. And it's just, I don't know. I don't think it's very enjoyable. Yeah, this looks like a good map. I mean, there's a lot of line of sight blockers. So what I was talking about earlier, you can indeed go through this area, like through these, I don't know, like tall grasses to look for Pokemon. But also potentially to make a base here in the bottom left-hand corner, which is also pretty neat. Yeah, the map certainly looks a little bit different in-game. When I look at the mini-map right now, it looks way bigger. But it looks good, right? I don't think anyone's gonna really be complaining about it. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts, Twitch chat? I mean, you helped design this map, right? How do you rate this 1 through 10? Give me a number. 7? 6.9? Okay, I'm not surprised. 8? Yeah, I'm thinking about 8 as well. I'm thinking about 8 as well. It's boring? That's actually a very common response that you see from a lot of people that don't play StarCraft 2 that much. A lot of the maps in StarCraft 2 are boring in the sense that they are very similar. The thing is, whenever like anyone tries any like fun maps or any crazy maps, they generally speaking get vetoed. So, for example, like remember, what was that one called? The one where you like had the gold base as your like in-base expansion, and then once you mined out the golden minerals. Redshift? Was it Redshift? Look, don't get me wrong. I love casting games on those maps. I think it was Redshift. Redshift LE. Hold up, let me Google it real quick. Redshift. Oh my god, I Googled Redshift and I find all kinds of... Yeah, Redshift. I just googled redshift. That was not enough. Alright, I found the most JPEG picture I could find. Anyways, basically these were golden minerals. So you would expend to watch your opponent, and your opponent could literally harass your mineral line, like from the other side. It was a bit of a disaster. That said, like these games were some of the most fun games that I've ever casted in StarCraft 2. So from the perspective of like a player, these kind of maps kind of suck. From the perspective of a caster, freaking love it. It's yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say what's better. I think having one or two of those maps in the map pool would be pretty neat. Lowko, this could be very... Oh, wait, what's this? So this is a full wall-off? Are you saying that this is a full wall-off right here? Nuke? Ooh. So this is on the map we just reviewed. There looks to be a hex over here that may be bugged or something, so a worker can't pass through there. Yeah, I always hope that these kind of things turn out to be bugs, because it certainly looks like a worker should be able to fit through that area, right? There may be some cheeky little cannon rushes. Although, you can do the same thing right now, for example, on Everdream. Like on Everdream, you can do a very aggressive cannon rush as well, where like a cannon on the low ground can actually hit the gas in your main base. And it freaking sucks, but we don't really see it that often. So, yeah, we'll see. Oh no, cannon rushers will figure out which maps are good for cannon rushing very, very quickly. That only takes about 10 minutes, guys. As soon as the new maps are out, people will try. Yeah, 3 pylon cannon rushes aren't terrible. This is not the end of the world. I mean, worst case scenario, as a Zerg player, you would just go pool first. And that would kind of get rid of all of this. I mean, if you are a Protoss player and you go Forge first and you're going up against the pool first Zerg, you're probably dead. So, you know, it's... yeah. It's a bit of a gamble regardless, right? Like... I don't think there's too big of a deal there. But yeah, obviously, this is just my initial impressions. I'm certainly not going to be able to get to the bottom of these kind of things just yet. Anyways, next map. We have Lightshade LE. Oh, this is made by Maras. Maras. I met Maras at, what was it? Home Story Cup 20 in Berlin. She actually made a ton of maps. If you look at some of the map names, so this is the music or some of the map makers, like, look, there she is again. Anyways. Yeah, she makes a lot of them. Anyways, so Lightshade is a typical standard map with 2 third base options and 7 bases per player and can support a wide variety of playstyles. The destroyable debris and rocks give players a bit of security early on, and destroying them makes it easier to maneuver armies around the map. Twitch stat didn't help in this one? It sucks. I gotta say, by the way, Everdream, for example, is one of her maps right now in the map pool, if I recall correctly. Yeah, so she did make... Did she make another one, actually, as well? Super Room Man has, like, 4 different maps currently in the map pool. Oh, she also made Death Aura. So, wait. I think... Are Everdream and Death Aura gonna stay around for another season? Is she gonna have 4 maps in the 1v1 map pool? That's actually... Well, maybe one of them... Did I click the wrong picture? Did I really? Oh, I did. Wow. Thank you for catching that. So this is Lightshade. The one that I just clicked on is Oxide. Okay, yeah, we'll get to that. That's a little sloppy. So Everdream is going out. Okay. Anyways, what I was gonna say is that she seems to be really good at, like, decorating the map. I was gonna bring up that point for Oxide, though, because I love these... orange, like, plants and trees and stuff. They look cool. But anyways, this one's a little bit different. This looks identical to a map that I have played many games on. Am I crazy? So you have the vertical expansion. What is that map again? Oh, crap. We had this map in the map pool for a long time. It's kind of like Simulacrum, but that's not the one that I meant. Simulacrum was around for a little while too. Simulacrum was kind of small. It does have a similar, like, 3 base layout, yeah. And then the 4th base on the low ground. So that's this one. You might recall it. So there's like a vertical expo and then the... That's not the one I meant though. Well, actually, it's very similar to that as well. Acropolis? Acropolis LE. Let's have a look. Is that the one? Oh, yeah, that's the one I meant. So this is Acropolis LE. Remember that map? We played this one for ages. Dude, yeah! So the big difference here is that there is like... Well, the middle section is different. Then there's like... No stupid little rock section over there. Oh my god. This is so similar. That's actually kind of crazy. Now, for what it's worth, Acropolis was one of the best maps that we've had in Legacy of the Void, so I'm not saying that that is a bad thing. The only thing I didn't like about Acropolis were the rocks right over there, because this base could sometimes be harassed from, like, units over there. Like, you could have, like, slow siege pushes. And if you forgot killing the rocks, it would get a bit of a disaster. So that seems to be fixed over here, liking this area of the map much better. But it looks very similar to that. Can I copy your homework? I'll just change it a little. Actually, who made Acropolis? Acropolis was made by RQM. Okay, I was gonna say, maybe it was also Maras. But that's not the case. Simulacrum LE was made by -0. So that's also a different map maker again. Anyhow. Here's the map. Main base, natural third. Once again, big main base. No ramp from the natural. Small ramp leading down from the main. Looks like a wall-off once again that can be done with 3x3 structures. With 3 of those. You can have a third base over here on the high ground, which probably will be what most Zerg players will go for, because generally you want to expand away from your opponent. Terrans and Protosses will probably feel a little bit better taking this one, although it is very wide open. Yeah, Maros makes good maps. Like, I honestly have had no complaints about her maps, I don't think, in the past either. Honestly, we are very spoiled with maps in StarCraft 2 right now as it is. There's a certain standard that has been set over the years. And as long as you, like, fulfill most of the checkboxes, you'll probably have a good map. This looks like a very standard... Basically what she was describing, a very standard macro map. So it's called Lightshade. Lightshade. I do hope it's a little bit brighter than what that image would, you know, make you think. Because it does look a little bit dark. At least, like, on the screenshot, you know? Yeah, so one big thing that they did with patch 5.0 was an improvement to the amount of layers that you could have in a map. So, in the past, it was 3 layers at most. However, right now, they've upped that level from 3 to 15. So you can have 15 layers. The thing is, these maps, they are pretty much all, I think, from the Team Liquid map contest, which is like a tournament that Blizzard puts out. Or like it's a tournament organized by Team Liquid, but I think Blizzard is doing the prize pool or something along those lines. Anyways, they're pretty much always a season behind, if I recall correctly. So, these maps are probably made in, like, you know, pre-5.0 era. So in the future, I'm sure we're gonna see use out of those, you know, additional tiers that you can get out of maps. As it is right now, though, we're not seeing that just yet. Yeah. Alright, anyway. Let's have a look once again. So, it does look a little bit... Oh, it actually looks way brighter. I'm actually glad. Like, all the maps in StarCraft 2 always are so dark. I'm glad to see that that is not the case. There used to be a time period where all of the map makers were trying to make their maps, like, gloomy and, like... I don't know. Very dark in general. I'm a much bigger fan of the lighter maps. I think it's
as always, thank you
nice.
for your positive attitude, dedication, and hard work.
Yo, hey, that's super nice of you, Slim. Appreciate that. Thank you also, The Bigger Hit, with the Prime sub. That was already 9 minutes ago. I don't know if I thank you, but I think I didn't. So I sent this one out at 45 seconds. So that is okay. It's about, what was that? 34 seconds. So very similar. Nothing out of the ordinary. Always testing the rush distance. Is that a little bit of Terrazine I'm seeing? Someone call Stetman. Might just be Vespine, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, this map is nice and bright. I mean, it's called freaking Lightshade, right? So it should be bright. But on the little preview image there, it seemed like a very dark map. Yeah, this one looks neat, right? I don't really see any, like, issues or concerns here. There's no golden minerals. There are no, like, high-yield Vespian geysers either. A lot of pro gamers don't like those at all. I'm actually quite surprised we haven't heard a lot of complaining about Death Aura, because that map has, like, you know, 2 high-yield Vespian geysers on 2 bases, which is pretty crazy. Perfect pillars. There's a perfect pillar right over there. Look at that. It's right on top of the air conditioning unit. So your Overlord will be nice and toasty. Fantastic. Yeah, I don't think there's anything, right? What do you guys rate this? From a scale from 1 to 10? I think I'm once again gonna go for an 8. I think once again an 8. 8.5. Seems very reasonable. A 9? Okay. Yeah, so a little bit higher than the previous one. I mean, it's hard to say that it's immediately a very highly rated map without having played any games on it, right? But at least my initial impressions seem to be very, very positive. Look, can you check the Protoss wall-offs? Yeah, so that's one of the things that I was talking about earlier. You need to be able to wall this off with like 3x3 structures. So I don't see that being an issue anymore in 2020. So like this, for example, if you make a wall off like this, where like the corners are touching, a unit can still slip through. So there has to be like one layer of overlap. It should be fine. Like I am going to make the assumption that these kind of things should be okay. Yeah, this is certainly going to be okay. Like this is, yeah, definitely going to be something you can wall with 3x3 structures. Alrighty, so that brings us to the next one, which had like a nice, you know, autumny feel. I don't know where everyone is from here, but at least here on like the northern hemisphere, I think that Oxide is going to be very relevant for the time of the year by the time we actually get to play it. So a smaller map with rocks that lengthen attack routes early game. Fast natural base to natural base timing. And maps become high tension once the rocks are down. I don't like that description very much. My Zerg instincts are kicking in right away. Yeah, this looks like a very rushy map. The main reason why I say that is because the third base is going to be kind of difficult to access. Like, as Zerg, you don't really care too much, but Terrans and Protoss are going to have a pretty tricky time taking any of these bases. I mean, obviously, you can take this one, right? This one is probably not going to be something you would want to take early on. Like, you probably would take this as like a 4th or a 5th. This one over here seems to be kind of far away, you know? Like, it seems like the distance you'd have to travel from natural to third is kind of long. There's a lot of pillars. Yeah, there's, I think, some rocks over here. Hold up. Are there rocks over on the northern section too? Yeah. So I think that this is probably the pillar. That's a big pillar, man. You can hide like 20 overlords there. Actually, way more because they stack. But anyways. Other than that, this looks like a pretty standard map once again. We have main base, natural third, fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so this one only has 6 maps. Or, sorry, 6 bases per player. So if you were to draw like a diagonal line, I mean, it's 6 players or 6 bases for either player. That is on the small end or on the smaller end. I mean, if you go any below that, I don't think anyone will want to play it. This map looks tiny, which generally speaking, in my experiences, make it rather cheesy. Although I actually do quite like Submarine, which is by far the smallest map in the current map pool. I think that's a pretty neat map. Let's have a look. Yeah, there's probably going to be some crazy siege tank positions on a map like this with so many different high grounds and low grounds and stuff. We can definitely check for some of those as well. So the other maps were like 34 seconds or 35-ish seconds for each of the rush distances. It seems like this one then is going to be a little bit shorter. If it's like too short, that would kind of suck. I'm also going to be sending this Overlord over here. Actually, I don't need to send it over there. Well, we'll send it over there. Who cares? I'll send you at 15 seconds. Okay. There goes the little drone. We have some beautiful music in the background. I Mensk from the Wings of Liberty campaign. Get your low sing emotes out, chat. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Wait, hold up. I sent it at 15 seconds, right? So the rush distance is actually not that short at all. Rush distance is equal to the other ones. I think it's due to the rocks in the center. Can we, for like a point of reference, does anyone happen to know the number for the rush distance on Submarine? Yeah, there's tons of rocks all over the map that will certainly make that rush distance a lot shorter. You can obviously defend this base with siege tanks and stuff as well, right? Like, this choke point over here is pretty great as well for Protoss, so maybe it's actually not so cheesy as I thought it was going to be originally. There's a lot of good proxy locations, obviously, especially for, like, you know, cheeky little stargates or whatever, right? You can position those quite easily. Yeah, exactly. Like, if you destroy the rocks, then the rush distance is going to be rather short, but that is not something that happens until the mid-game.
New subscriber detected.
Thank you, Giltas.
Roses are red, violets are blue. How do I cancel subscription? KEKW, just joking, I don't want to cancel it.
KEKW, just joking, I don't want to cancel it. Okay. Thank you, Giltas. Guys, if you ever need to cancel your sub, that's totally fine. No hard feelings at all.
Detected.
But I would
Hello,
appreciate it
where
if
can
you
I
decide to
find
stick
these
around.
new maps?
The new maps, they are all in StarCraft 2. So if you just search the map name in the the custom games section, you can find it. Okay, so we send it at 10 seconds. This is by far the cheesiest map in the current map pool. Although it's nothing too crazy. So I think that this is like, it's a small map. But it's not super like rushy in the sense that your units arrive on the other side of the map really early. You know what I mean? Hey, thank you very much, by the way, Kengan, for the resub. So I sent this one at 10 seconds, which means that it's going to be about a 32-second rush distance. Yeah, so the other ones that we have looked at so far today, like the new maps, are all at about 34, 35. Which seems really reasonable to me. Yo!
Love your work. May I ask, if you had to make a single change to every race, what would that change be?
Ooh.
Personally, I want to change to carriers, ultralisks, and banshee.
So, first off, thank you for your 20 euro donation. I appreciate that. We talked about this actually a couple of days ago. I mean, we talk about this constantly on stream. If I could make one change per race. I think if they decide to go with like a big balance patch at the end of the year again, or after like the competitive season ends, which I think is going to be like Katowice next year. But anyways, I would love to see them introducing a change to like the 3 supportive spellcasters that we see quite a bit in the late game. So I would love to see the removal of the Infestor, the Raven, and the Mothership. And I would love to see them experiment with replacing those units with something else. In the sense of the Infestor, I would love to see the Scourge added to the multiplayer. I think that would be really neat. I would like to see the Science Vessel added into the game as well, although you probably have to remove Irradiate, or at least like nerf it. I think that would be kind of cool. And then for Protoss, I would love to see those flying ships from StarCraft 1, like the little mini motherships instead. And then rather than having stasis available, I would like to have them have like little time warps or something like that. Yeah, Arbiters. I think Arbiters would be really cool, but Stasis would be extremely overpowered. If they were to like be able to throw around like little mini time warps, that would get rid of like the -400, -400 meme. And while all of those things might be completely broken, I mean, all the models are already in the game. Those units aren't particularly fun, with maybe the Raven. Like, the Raven is pretty neat, but I cast a lot of StarCraft 2, right? And I read a lot of comments, and the unit that I get by far the most questions about is the Raven, because a lot of people have no idea how it works, and it's kind of difficult to explain as well. Like, the orange paint is kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of a stupid model anyway. Like, the orange paint where all of a sudden the anti-armor, and it's just confusing, you know? Plus, yeah, I think Scourge would fill that hole in, like, the Zerg anti-air problem that you see quite a bit in a lot of games now. Maybe just copying them straight up would be completely broken. Probably would be. But, yeah, it would be kind of cool. Yeah, I think Ravens are pretty cool. So I'm not sold on the Raven idea. But I think both the Infestor and the Mothership are in kind of a lame spot right now. You know? Like, who likes the Raven? Or sorry, who likes the Mothership? Who likes the Infestor? I mean, there's a couple people out there, but I think they're kind of lame. So maybe something else for Terran, but, you know, that's what I was thinking anyway. Like, the Mothership, it's good, don't get me wrong, but it's, I don't know. The idea is cool, but I think the game would be better without, like, hero units like that, you know? And Infestors, I mean, I don't like them. I really don't. Like, they've once again nerfed Neural Parasite against carriers. Obviously, the Infested Terran is gone, and it's got a lame spell called Microbial Shroud that is never ever utilized. For all intents and purposes, we see Infestors being used right now for two things. That is, first off, to Neural Thors, and secondly, to, like, fungal growth things every once in a while. But all of those things, like, you can do the same thing that the Infestor does with Vipers, kind of, you know? Like, they're kind of used either together or, like, I don't know. Plus, without Infestors and fungal growth, I think the late game Zerg army, especially against Protoss Skytos, is going to be quite a bit weaker. I think it would be cool. I think it would be cool to see that. I don't know. I'm just making suggestions. I'm not an expert, but... What about Dark Archons? Dark Archons would be pretty neat as well. But probably not with Mind Control, though. Like, Mind Control is basically a permanent Neural Parasite, right? That would be a little bit crazy. I don't know. I'm just making a suggestion. I think it would be nice if they decide to continuously release big balance overhauls or at least, like, significant changes yearly. I think that would be kind of cool. Maybe I'm wrong. Could be. Alright, thank you very much, the Radio Demon Hex. There we go, for the raid. Appreciate you. We have the Music 246 that... Wait, hold up. Yeah, no, we read that already for Oxide. Alright. Man, a little bit of space in between here would not have hurt Blizzard, but it's okay. Then the last map that we have is called Romanticide. Music ended at the perfect moment. Romanticide. Get your candles out. Get your Michael Bublé playing in the background or whatever. Get your cozy sweaters and blankets and your wine and stuff out, all right? Get it all going. We're gonna go to Romanticide. I believe Maros, we actually looked this up. Maros is like, she listens apparently to a lot of metal music or something. So all of her maps apparently are named after metal songs. Anyways, Romanticide is a macro map with a slightly shorter rush distance than normal. The maze of rocks and line of side blockers in the middle path offer a lot of positional opportunities. The mineral wall nodes values are at 10. So that means 2 trips. Ooh! That's a color scheme we haven't seen before. I like it. Plus we have... Is that wood? Is that wood I'm seeing? Is that a material that they use in StarCraft? Amazing. I didn't know that we built things out of wood. It's a song from Nightwish. Oh, okay. Everdream and Romanticide are 2 Nightwish songs. Cool. Isn't Nightwish the metal band with that lady, like the Dutch lady? Yeah, Floor Janse. Floor Janse. She's the singer, like the lead singer on Nightwish. Once again, proving that the Netherlands is literally the best country ever. Right, guys? Right? Anyways, we can talk about how amazing the Netherlands is later. Let's have a look at the map layout. Big main, small ramp leading down. Once again, no ramp from the natural towards the low ground over here. Easily accessible third, but I think these are the mineral patches that she was referring to. So these have 10 minerals in them, meaning that you need to have 2 worker trips.
Donation confirmed.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Okay, you can do that faster, Bolt. Come on. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? GG. I beat the tongue twister. Anyway, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Okay, that was too fast. I tried, man. Eminem, watch out, I'm coming for you. Anyway, right. Main natural third. Could take the third over there, probably, if you really wanted to. Guys, I gotta say, even though there's, like, very little, quote-unquote, exciting features in any of these maps, they look very good. Like, this is a slightly different layout than what we normally see with the third base, and then this little area over here and the minimal rocks. It looks like there's a high-yield gas over there in the center, but these are very exposed bases. Although, I say that, you could technically take this as your third base, then mine these out, and then get that base. But, I mean, you're gonna lose some income sending workers over there, and then you can make up some of that income with the faster gas mining. I don't mind it. I like it. There's a lot of rocks. There's a lot of rocks. Yeah, this looks neat. Honestly, we're getting spoiled with some of these maps. Yeah, tank pushes are gonna be pretty insane. That's what I was thinking too. So like, say for example, you take this as your third base as Protoss, right? And you forget to mine out these minerals. There's gonna be some crazy siege tank drops over here. Like you can bring siege tanks over there and then marines over there, right? And you bring medivacs and you like send those across. It's not as bad as this map though. What map was that again?
Rocks right here. 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 There's rocks pretty much everywhere.
This is Lowko from many years ago. 3 years ago, yes. This is back when we used to wear button-ups and get regular haircuts and whatnot, you know? I've always been a rep god. Yes. Can confirm. Yeah, this looks like a good map, guys. We're gonna load it up and have a look. Romanticide. Ooh, I like the map name. It's a good map name. It's way better than that. What was the first map? Like, I'm already forgetting. Jagannatha? Jagannatha? I don't know. Romanticide. I totally miswrote that, didn't I? Did I not? Oh, wait, it's under melee. Sorry. Alrighty. Well, let us have a look. Jaganatha. There it is. I'm hoping that it's gonna be as bright and colorful when we're actually in game. Ooh, it's blue. There's patched creep. I know a lot of you feel very strongly about patched creep. There's holes in my creep. It doesn't affect anything, but I know a lot of people really dislike that. Anyhow, let us have a look then at the rush distance. It is a little bit darker than what the image would make you think, but we'll send it at 30 seconds. Nice win. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. I've only won today. Except against that very easy... No, actually, I didn't add the very easy AI. Alright, so I sent it at 30 seconds. The description of the map says that it's got a bit of a shorter rush distance. So there's some... Yeah, there's some... Ooh. There's a hairy center map, dude. You can catch all kinds of Pokemon over here. Look at the tall grass. You can get yourself some rare Pokemon like... I don't know. Scyther! Or a Bulbasaur! 30 seconds. It's once again 35 seconds, guys. I mean, they keep saying it's a short rush distance. But, maybe you can catch a Velociraptor? Sure. Yeah. Maybe. You never know. You can get your rare Pokemon like my Banelings when you come by with your own Zerglings, huh? It's gonna be neat. So these have 10 minerals, I'm assuming then. Yep. And I'm assuming that these over here will also have 10 minerals. So notice, by the way, the trend as well to see the removal basically of watchtowers everywhere. There's no watchtowers anymore on any of the maps. There's a little pervert pillar right over there. Guys, I gotta say, I like the maps. They look really good. Overall, without having played any games on them, I would say this is about an 8 out of 10 on pretty much all of these. Maybe higher. It's gonna take a little bit of practice before we can properly, like... Because, for example, there might be some crazy, like, you know, locations over here where you can go for, like, a stupid cannon rush. This looks like something that might be wallable with 2 pylons, you know what I mean? That would suck. Nah, I don't think so. There seems to be a gap over there. But, like, that's gonna take a little bit of, like, practice and maybe some hot fixing if there's, like, some really broken locations. But this looks like a good map overall. So, I'm actually curious, like, what would be, like, the most standard map in the current map pool? Is there, like, something that we could call really standard? Okay, let's actually have a look then at Ice and Chrome. Ice and Chrome is, like, a standard big map. So what's the rush distance on Ice and Chrome? Just so we can have a little bit of perspective. Eternal Empire? I believe Eternal Empire will be gone. But we'll go over that list in just a little bit. Yeah. I feel like Oxide might be the most shaky map as far as like standard macro goes. But obviously it's important to have a variety of maps. Oxide, at least as like a player, is probably my least favorite map of the new ones. But that doesn't mean it's not a good map, you know? Just as someone who plays this game a lot. Oh, Ice and Chrome won't actually be in the map pool either? Oh, really? Okay. Anyway, so this will give us a bit of a perspective, because this is a map that I do have a lot of experience on. I like this one, but it's good for Zerg. So that's probably why. So I set this one at 10 seconds. I mean, the rush distance is gonna be a little bit longer on this one. But I mean, we're talking 1 second, maybe, yeah, like 2 seconds. So there's like a 2-3 second rush distance difference on a map like this compared to the ones that we have seen added today. It's really not that significant. It's really not that big. Okay, now we can have a look at the 2v2 maps as well. Wow, it's a 2v2 map. Let's have a look at the 3v3 map. Guys, look at this one. Wow, it's a 3v3 map. And then we have a 4v4 map. There it is. These maps are kind of impossible to rate properly because I don't really play 2v2, 3v3, and 4v4. Last time I played 2v2, there were some really bad maps. So I'm hoping they fix those. Like, there are some... like, I played like a couple months ago. There were some really, really bad 2v2 maps. Anyhow. The final map pool for 1v1 is gonna be Submarine, Death Aura, Pillars of Gold, Oxide, Lightshade, Romanticide, and Jaganatha. Excellent. So that means Golden Wall is out, Everdream is out, Ice and Chrome is out. Eternal Empire. Alrighty, yeah. Eternal Empire, we've seen that one for a super long time. I'm glad to see it gone. Golden Wall, we've been seeing that one for a very long time. And while we have seen some really good games on it, this is pretty much always a map 7 map. I don't think it's particularly great for laddering. It's pretty good though for some of this, like some of the pro games we've seen on this map. But I personally, I'm not a fan of Golden Wall just because it's really hard to play properly. But it made some good games, man. Like Golden Wall is creating some of the most exciting matches. Yeah, so I'm liking these maps a lot, despite the fact that this list is kind of boring. There is really no exciting map in here that really gets you on the edge of your seat, right? It looks like a standard, straightforward map pool without any tricks, right? What do you guys think? Any thoughts? It's not even necessarily a macro map list. It's just a map list without any crazy varieties, I suppose. Yeah, I personally like no tricks. Like, boring has a negative connotation to it, but in StarCraft, that's not really the case. I think a lot of pro gamers are gonna like this set of maps. We'll call this the Jaga map. It's where Jabba the Hutt lives? Okay, yes. Yeah, boring is kind of good in StarCraft. As weird as that is. Alright, so my final thoughts are very positive. I like them. Looking forward to the next season. Plus, it says here at the bottom that you will be able to once again get a free name change with the next ladder season. So I'm going to have to come up with 2 new names for my 2 accounts. Am I going to change Brenda, though? I mean, Brenda is such a top-tier account name. So I currently play on Lowko, Brenda, and Pet Zerk. Those are some good names. I'm not going to change the Lowko account, obviously, but... Lowko, last question. Does Oxide have a pervert pillar? I like how that name is catching on. It's great. Oh, right. We didn't actually check for that. Hold up. Let me... I was going to check for it, but then I never did. It does have, like, a bunch of rocks between the third and the natural and the main. Like, at, like, the cross-section there. There's, like, a bunch of floating rocks. Yeah, so watchtowers are basically gone. Honestly, I don't mind that. Watchtowers are, generally speaking, favored for Zerk. And Zerk is doing plenty well in tournaments without it. So we're talking about this section over here. I'm assuming that this is going to be hittable. Like, say you have a probe over here and a stalker over here.
Confirmed.
Is it more of a pervert pillar depending on the unit hovering over it?
Oh yeah, no, all overlords are pervert. Like, they're all perverts, for sure. Look at those big eyes that they have. Look, do you think pros will be mad about no watchtowers? No. Nobody really seems to feel that strongly about watchtowers, I don't think. It's just, in general, considered to be like a, Those are not eyes. I guess his eyes are over there, huh? They're considered to be a little bit more Zerk favored, because Zerk is very fast. You can grab those watchtowers very easily, assuming you don't use the all army hotkey. And they just give you a lot of vision.
Detected.
What's going on, Fresh? Thank you for your prime sub. So I think that this is a high ground. The only problem is that it's not really a good high ground. So I don't see where you could really position your overlords alternatively. Like, you can put them over there and maybe over there. I'm not sold on Oxide. I think that this map could become a little bit troublesome. It's probably not a big deal, but it is a little bit shorter. Especially once the rocks are down. There's going to be some very fast rush distances that you can go for. There's a lot of choke points as well. Plus, I mean, it's going to be tricky to figure out where to go. But I mean, this is probably the trickiest map. If that's even a proper word, like, to describe a map. It's probably going to be the trickiest map in the map pool. And it's still pretty standard. Like, nothing really too crazy. Is that in the center? Okay, it is. Sometimes they make these maps with these little doodads. And they just don't actually line up with any of the bases. I like the fact that these do. Like, remember that? This really bothered me. Like, nobody really seemed to care. But there was this map a little while ago where, like, this little doodad would basically be scooted over. Like, imagine this little doodad right here scooted over a bunch to the right. So you would have this perfect square, but your base would actually line up kind of like that. You know? It hurt me, man. I didn't like it. Nobody else seemed to care, though, but... I wish that never was a thing. Yeah, that was one where it was completely off. So silly. Yeah, so, final thoughts. Looks very good. Looking forward to the next season. It's gonna be fun.